Hey guys, in this month's top 5, I'm going to be talking about my 5 favorite love triangles. Love triangles. You either love them or you hate them. Love triangles can either be the greatest thing about a book or it could be the most horrible thing about a book. What I wanted to try and do for this particular video was to think outside of the box, think beyond kind of traditional love triangles. So basically what I did, I refused to put any young adult literature love triangles in this because I just think that would have been way too predictable and way too easy. I kind of wanted to think about this. So I picked 5 love triangles that are kind of rather weird, and they might not even necessarily have anything to do with love or romance, but it's still a threesome of characters that are just very odd, I think, and I just kind of wanted to think outside of the box for this one. At number 5, I have Jamie, Claire, and Frank from the Outlander book by Diana Gabaldon. The reason I chose these 3 is because of how kind of strange it is. Claire, she initially goes on this second honeymoon with her husband, Frank, and we see them trying to rekindle their romance because they've been separated through World War II for years now. But then one day, Claire, she goes to this little set of standing stones and she gets sucked into the 1700s, where she meets this young Scotsman named Jamie, who she kind of starts developing a friendship with, and then later kind of she has more, romantical feelings for. And she kind of has to leave behind her husband Frank, even though she still always constantly thinks about him, but she kind of has to move on because she has no idea how to get back to her real world. So she is stuck in the 1700s, essentially. It's such a strange love triangle because Frank and Claire are so separated by space and time. And it's interesting to see Claire try to adjust to this new world and figure out, her relationship between Frank and Jamie both. At number 4, I have Cosette, Marius, and Eponine from Victor Hugo's Les Miserables. This book takes place in France during this blockade going on during the uprisings of the 1830s. And we have Cosette, who is a very wealthy woman, a young woman. We have Marius, who's kind of this ideological schoolboy who joins the rebellion. And then we also have Eponine, who's also part of the rebellion, and she's like a poor waif of a girl. I just love this love triangle between Marius, Eponine, and Cosette. It's just so fascinating. Marius he straddles kind of class boundaries because he's not poor, I don't think, and he's not wealthy either. So he kind of straddles the class boundaries, and he can kind of go either way, either be with Cosette or be with Eponine. Cosette and Marius, they pretty much have insta-love. It's a bit ridiculous. And then you have poor Eponine, who is one of my favorite characters. Eponine, who she's part of this uprising with Marius, and she kind of loves him from afar, and it's very sad. And the whole triangle is just so interesting because you have Marius and Cosette who pretty much just have eyes on one another, and then Eponine, who lingers in the background of the whole thing. At number 3, I have King Arthur, Guinevere, and Lancelot from Arthurian legend, whatever version of Arthurian legend you want to go with. Here I have Les Morts d'Arthur by Sir Thomas Malory. King Arthur, Guinevere, and Lancelot, they're probably one of the earliest love triangles in literary history. I'm not sure if there's any before that, but I think they're one of the earliest. You have King Arthur, who marries beautiful Guinevere, but then you have Lancelot, who is one of the Knights of the Round Table, who starts having some lustful feelings after Guinevere, but, it's all sorts of doomed because Guinevere is the queen, and and King Arthur's wife, and it's just all sorts of forbidden. I've always really loved this triangle. I usually ship Guinevere and Lancelot in any sort of book adaptation of Arthurian legend or any sort of movie or television series adaptation. I'm usually all for Guinevere and Lancelot. I always found them much more interesting and appealing for some reason. At number 2, I have Louie, Claudia, and Lestat from Anne Rice's Interview with the Vampire. This is one hell of a crazy threesome. You have Lestat, who is a vampire, turns Louie into a vampire, and then years later Claudia is brought into their lives, and she in turn is turned into a vampire, and Claudia is just a little girl. This book is just so interesting because sexuality is a big deal in this novel. Vampires, you know, in Anne Rice's world, they're flexible with their sexual preferences. They'll just go after whoever. So you have Lestat and Louie, who you're not quite sure if they have something going on between them. And then you have Claudia when she comes into the picture, and Claudia kind of has this huge crush on Louie, even though Louie is, you know, way, way, way older than her, besides the fact that she's also a little girl. But Claudia, you know, she's a vampire for such a long time, and she remains a little girl, but she starts having these womanly feelings, and she wants to experience what other women feel. And then on top of this, Lestat is kind of this crazy vampire. He's bloodthirsty, he'll just murder whoever. But then you have Claudia and Louie, who kind of want to redeem themselves, and they don't want to kill as much. So yeah, very interesting threesome indeed. Like I said earlier, not when I started the video, not a traditional sort of lovey-dovey love triangle, but just a very weird love triangle that works in the confines of this book. And at number 1, I have Angel, Tess, and Alec from Thomas Hardy's Tess of the Durbervilles. This love triangle is one of the most fucked up love triangles I have ever read. You just don't like anything about this love triangle. It's despicable from start to finish. It's like you love Tess as a character. You feel for Tess. She goes through some crap, and it's just horrible for her. At first, she meets Alec Durberville, who is, I guess, a cousin of some sort. And you could clearly tell he is obsessed with her and he wants her. And some things kind of transpire that kind of ruin her life later down the line. And then later, Tess meets Angel, who comes across as this very just beautiful and wonderful and lovely person. But then by the end, something happens again, and he ends up disappointing her. So Tess, she just has these two guys, Alec and Angel, who disappoint her from beginning to end of this book, and you just don't really want her with either guy. But that's the beauty of this love triangle, because this book is such a tragedy, and you're cringing from start to finish. And this love triangle, it makes up a good chunk of this book, and this love triangle figures into so many plot elements, and it creates the end of this book. So yeah, probably one of the most horrible, tragic love triangles in the history of literature, but still one of the best love triangles. So that's it for this top 5. In the comments below, I would love to hear from you guys, your favorite love triangles. And like I did with mine, they don't have to be traditional love triangles. You can just think outside the box and be as wild and crazy as you want to be. So that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you liked this month's top 5, you may like these other top 5s. Bye guys.